Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69 and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be having a look at the Panzer IIJ, the German tier 3. It's this tank. When this first tank come, it used to be one of the most fun tanks in the game, and then 5.5 happened and everything else, it turned into pretty much the worst tank in the game and the most pointless tank in the game. Wargaming buffed it. I don't know if they actually buffed the penetration, but I know they buffed the armor a little bit. It has become slightly better, but it's still a tank. It's, unless you're a collector, then I don't see the point of this tank no more. It's not the same as it once was back in the day. So, equipment wise, you have to run it with calibrated shells. You have to run it with the calibrated shells because your penetration is 44. You run the calibrated shells, I mean, it's only 26. The reload, you're dropping only 24. So the penetration has always been the worst thing about this. You can't pen anything. You can't pen nothing, or you used to not be able to pen nothing. Even with the APCR, you struggle to pen anything. Now, I actually run this full APCR. No AP, just full APCR. So it's a premium tank, or a collectible now. I don't see the point in playing it because I lose credits every time. Every time I play this tank, I lose credits. So, and that's what the tank is like. So we're going to look at the armor profile quickly. I mean, it is a tier 3 tank, so we're not going to spend too much time in looking at the tank, but the armor has always been the best thing about this tank. Before update 5.5, everyone used to be able to everyone used to struggle to pen you. Now the front plate, you can see 87 millimeters. Remember, your penetration is 40, so it's double your penetration. You do have some weak points here, but even so, like 57, you're not penning yourself. You are not penning yourself frontally with this thing. Even maybe with APCR you get lucky if you get the right angle. The side armor, I mean, the side armor is 41. The side armor is not as strong, and you've got these little weak points here. That's always been the weak point. The rear is pretty good at 53, the bottom 52. So again, you're not even penning yourself from, if you come up against a Panzer IIJ, in a Panzer IIJ, you can't really even pen the rear of the tank, the turret or the hull. So it's a troll tank, and it used to be one of those tanks where you roll out in a platoon of them and you just go and cap, and you just watch people just struggle to pen you. Me, Bob, Timster, these were the days where we would platoon and just roll out Panzer IIJs because they was one of the most fun tanks in the game. So I went and played a couple of games. I haven't played this tank for a long time. Probably the last video I made of the tank, I don't think that was actually too long ago, where I actually called it the most pointless tank in the game. So I went and run it for 2 battles. These are back-to-back battles, nothing special at all. But I'm actually, since the last time I played the tank, it does feel a lot better. It does feel a lot better. I mean, I can pen, as you can see, I have 400 rounds and 400 APCR. I have no AP whatsoever because the AP is just shocking and you're not going to pen much. I'm not sure now. I should have actually tried using some AP after it has had that little buff. But I mean, I run it with all APCR. I say I run it with APCR. I don't play the tank. The only time I ever play the tank is if it's in a stream, or making a video for it, and people requested the Panzer IIJ. But it does feel a lot better than the last time I played it. You can bounce tanks. You're not going to bounce everything. You're not going to bounce everything in this tank, which once upon a time you could. You could bounce absolutely everything. Back in the day, when the T7 car and all that was released and given as a birthday tank, when everybody was playing a T7 car, you would just roll out in a Panzer IIJ, and if you get top tier against 5 or 6 T7 cars, it's an automatic win because they just can't pen you. Just the same as a few other tanks like the Mini Mouse and the R31, or whatever it is, R35 I think. So back in the day, it was such a fun tank, and that is why a lot of my my stats wise, yeah, my win rate's okay, but everything else, like average damage and all that, for someone with 60,000 plus games, like my average damage is still pretty low, I think, from how I play. I mean, I've got nearly 1900 average damage, but on all my other accounts I've got like over 2k. But people say like, oh, you got low average damage, blah blah blah, and this is the reason I've got low average damage, because I used to play for fun. I mean, as I've said, me Timster, grab 2 of these in a platoon and just go cap and just see 7 tanks coming at you and none of them can pen you. Those were the days that just no one cared about stats. No one cared about stats. They didn't care how much average damage you got. They didn't care what your win rate or hit ratio was. Back then no one cared at all, and we used to just do challenges like Dracula's, just go around the map, see if you can make it back into your spawn alive without shooting. So I used to go left, Timster used to go right, and we weren't allowed to stop, and we had to meet back in spawn. We had to cross paths with each other, and we used to have to see who could make it back into spawn. Now, no one cared back then. You do that now, people will downvote you, and rightly so, to be honest, because you're not playing it well. You're sort of not fighting on purpose, and you'd probably get banned for doing stuff like that now. So that was the first game. It was a loss. Tier 4 are going to pen you, and quite easily. And I have noticed that against Tier 4s, even with APCR, like, I can pen them much easier. Before, even with APCR, that's why I used to call this the most pointless tank in the game, because even with APCR, you come up against Tier 4s, you can't pen them. Nowhere. You can't pen them. But now, it does feel a lot better. You can actually pen Tier 4 tanks frontally. So it does feel a lot more better. I do wish that this tank was a little bit quicker. It is an auto-loader. With 0.1 seconds in between each shell, so you literally just tap, and you're doing probably around 100 damage, bit less than 100 damage per magazine. Especially if you are shooting the APCR, you're probably actually doing 50 to 70 damage on your 75 there against that guy there. So it is a pointless tank. I mean, the bundle, you get this in the Gross Tractor. However, I'm not even going to pronounce it right. For £5. It's still a good deal. It's still a good offer. It really is still a good offer for two little tanks. I mean, the Gross Tractor is quite a rare tank, and that is actually a tank I really like. It's got no armor, but a great gun. It does have a fantastic gun. But again, back in the day, the best thing about the Gross Tractor was the HE. I loved the HE, doing the big damage, and now Wargaming removed the HE from all the tier 3s, so it's now become like nothing special. It's still a good tank, but nothing special. But you are getting a couple of rare tanks there. I mean, the Panzer IIJ has always been quite rare, and the Gross Tractor has always been quite rare as well, only because no one really wanted them, and especially this. No one wanted it because it's just pointless. What is the point playing it? I don't see what the point is playing it. You're not going to go and play it for credits, because you're always going to lose credits. We lost, what, I think it was 15,000 credits last game, and we're going to lose credits this game. We're going to lose like between 20 and 40,000 credits like each game. Why would you want to play a tank, a premium tank, that you just lose credits all the time? And there's no point using AP, because that means you're not going to pen like anything. This game, I mean, we're up against tier 4. You see at the start, the Panzer 4D, he was trying to face hug me and side hug me, and he didn't pen me. We blocked quite a lot of damage, and that was a tier 4 tank as well. So the armor does work. The armor does work, but you can see here the pen on, that's a tier 4 tank with like no hope unless we fully aimed in, but it's an auto loader. So if you fully aim in, you might only get the one shot at the weak point, and then the rest of the shells are going to miss. So I'm ignoring him, and that is a lot of tanks. There's a lot of tanks like that, where even using the APCR, you're not going to pen at all. So this game we've actually done quite well. We're on 1,000 damage. We're not going to do no more. This Panzer 3 is going to get shot, and he's going to get killed. We've also blocked 825, so we blocked more hit points than we started with. We started with 510. I do the equipment rise. I do run it with the extra armor on this thing, because it has got really good armor. So just with the extra armor, it does give you that little bit more. So there we go, 19,000 on the loss. We do get the steel wool first class, but it is a good offer. It is a good offer. £5 for the 2 tanks and whatever else you get in the bundle. So it's totally up to you. You're getting a meh tank, but it is cheap. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.